Hi, this is a follow-up video on the re-whitening video I made about re-whitening a NuTone IS45 inside remote station from, when was it from? 1975. And if you watch the other video, you would have seen how discolored and yellow this was and how well this one turned out by comparison. But one of the byproducts of the re-whitening was that the faux burled walnut panel around the controls here was washed away with the chemicals of the re-whitening and with the cleaning of the grill, and now we have this just all ivory station. And the popular consensus has been it's not bad. Nobody seems to miss the burled faux walnut thing behind the buttons, so that's not really much of an issue. But one of the things that could be, or I think is an issue, is that the markings for the control buttons, which I think you can see here, we have listen and talk, or listen and talk for the inside patio stations, and over here we have talk and listen for the door station. The markings for those are recessed letters. They're recessed below the surface of the plastic, and then the faux wood grain was applied over the surface of the panel, making the letters ivory like the plastic with the brown, and they stood out really well and they were easy to read. Now it's all ivory, and while if you had really keen and sharp eyes, you probably could make it out without much of a problem, it looks somewhat unfinished and not really as good as I think it should be. So what I'm going to try now is to see if we can highlight the recessed letters so they're easier to read. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the control assembly off the grill so we don't have to work around the buttons and things, and then we'll get to it and see how it comes out. I hope it's going to be good. So I think you can see what we're going to try first is right here we have inside patio, speakers, talk, and listen. And I think you can see that pretty well on the camera. This is a little awkward because this is like off to my left to get it in shot, and so we'll see how this goes. What I chose to use for paint to try to highlight the lettering is this. This is Tamiya color acrylic paint right here. This is flat brown number XF10. I went down to the local hobby and craft store and talked to the nice lady about what I was going to do. She seemed puzzled but was helpful, and she said that this would be a good type of paint to use because this paint, which is made in Japan, this is craft and model paint, and it has ultra fine pigments in it. And she said you don't want anything with like jumbo size pigments, I guess, because it gets gloppy, and when you go to wipe it away or whatever, she didn't think it would work as well. And it was reasonable. It was like $3. And this little jar, which is 23 milliliters, this would probably do, oh, I don't know, 100,000 speakers. So, you know, it's $3. So let's go ahead and open it up. I also bought this really small paintbrush because I figured if we're going to try this, we needed to have something halfway proper tool-wise. What I'm going to do, oh, and then I have some paper towel. A couple different kinds. Don't know which one's going to work best. Not going to need a lot, I don't think, because this is pretty small. The first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to do a little test on this, and I have not tried this yet at all, so I don't know if it's going to mark up the plastic. This is a test speaker. It doesn't belong to anybody but me, so if we ruin it, we ruin it. Over here, I'm going to try in the recessed area, I'm going to put a little paint on the plastic where the nut that holds the volume control in place goes, like that. And then I'm going to wipe it away and see if it leaves marks on the plastic, because I have a feeling that it could, if there are like grooves or scratches or something in the plastic, it could very well capture the paint. The other thing I got when I was at the hobby store is I got a little jar. Wait, I should put the lid back on so I don't spill it. I got a jar of their X20A primer, which is, or thinner, which is what goes with this style of paint. I figured having the thinner would be a good idea, and it seems like it came off well enough, so I don't think that'll be a problem. This is one of those make it up as you go projects, so we'll just give it a try. I think we'll start off, we'll be conservative, and we'll do the talk label first. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the letters with some paint. I chose brown. I stood there and looked at all the colors they had, and they had a lot of colors, and it seemed to me that brown was the way to go. Could have done black, but somehow black seemed like it would be too harsh against the ivory, and maybe also I'm biased because the original burled walnut faux finish was brown, and somehow these speakers need some brown on them. I don't know. So all I'm going to do is wipe it away and see if we can get it off. Now, of course, what happened was it filled up the letters nicely. Now you can read talk very clearly, but it made marks on the plastic, which is not really what we want. And again, I have not tried this. This is the very first time you're seeing this live. As I do it, unless of course it's recorded, then it was only live when I was recording it. And see, the plastic did grab the paint, and now we have a brown stain. So let's see if we can stop the video for a second and find something that we might be able to use to remove the brown staining. So we'll try some mineral spirits, which seems to do a good job of removing the brown from the surface of the plastic. See, it came off. That's good. Now what we have to do is try to do this again in a way that we don't make such a mess out of it, because while you still can see talk much better than you could have before, it looks worn and shabby, and we don't want worn and shabby. We want it to look nice. So I'm going to let that area sort of dry. Make sure you can still see this. And I'm going to move up here to where it says speakers, because to do a fair test, we don't want to paint over the area that we put the mineral spirits, because the mineral spirits will affect the paint probably, and when we wipe it away there's be some mineral spirits left on the surface of the plastic, and so it's not a fair test. Alright, so we'll do that. This time we're going to wipe it differently. I'm going to use a different kind of paper towel, and I'm going to not put any thinner on it, and I've got it wrapped around the end of my finger so it's reasonably flat, and I'm just going to wipe it, and pretty much the lettering is good, but we still got it on the plastic. So the plastic seems to want to grab the paint quite a bit. So here's what we're going to do. First we're going to do the where it says inside/talk also, because you know we're all in around here. As my grandmother used to say, in for a penny, in for a pound. If we're going to do it, we're just going to go whole hog and do the whole thing. So we'll do those. And then we will wipe it off again. Like that. And let's redo the talk and the listen down below while we're painting stuff. So we'll do the talk again. I'm pretty sure the mineral spirits would have mostly evaporated at this point. Now I know some of you might be going, well, you could just paint the letters a lot closer and not be so sloppy about it. And I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference, because I think you're going to get paint on the surface to some degree no matter how you do it. And also the trick here is we have to come up with a way to do this that's fairly expedient. You know, as much as I would like to, maybe, you can't really sit here. If you had 6 or 8 of these to do, you can't really sit here and play with the paintbrush for 15 or 20 minutes on each one to try to paint it and touch them up, because that takes too much time and it would be too expensive, and basically nobody's going to pay that much. Time is time. So alright, so now we've done, I think you can easily see we have inside patio speakers, talk and listen. It's highlighted nicely. I actually like the brown. I think it's the way to go. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got other things to do here at the shop right now. I'm going to take this, I'm going to go put it outside in the sun, because it says on the jar, what does it say? It says allow 1 hour drying time before recoating. So it'll dry in an hour. And I think if I go take it out and put it outside in the sun, it'll warm up, it'll dry nicely. And after an hour or so, I'm going to come back, and then we're going to see if it dries inside the letters enough. If we very lightly go over the surface with a little bit of mineral spirits on a paper towel, we can clean off the surface of it and have it look good. It's an experiment. Let's wait to see how it finds out. I'll be back in about an hour. I am back. So it's actually been a couple hours. And in a couple hours, you have no idea how much I got done in 2 hours between the last part of this video and right now. So here's our IS45 with our newly painted, highlighted speaker panel. I've been sitting outside in the sun, drying for 2 hours, which is probably good. So what I'm going to try here is, I'm going to take a little mineral spirits, see, mineral spirits, and I'm going to see if the mineral spirits will take the brown off the panel without messing up the lettering. Because now it's dried a bunch. And it seems actually to do a pretty good job. We seem to have kind of a semi-stubborn spot. See here on the paper towel, it's coming off. So let's go ahead and put a little more. And then we have this little stubborn spot here and here. So what I'm going to try, one of my go-to things for cleaning, is I'm going to try a little alcohol pad. Alcohol is a really good cleaner. People underestimate how good alcohol is. You can clean stuff off with alcohol that you never thought you would get clean, and it's a really, really good cleaner. That little bit right there seems to be particularly stubborn. See, it's on the alcohol pad. See, we are getting some off. So what we'll try is get this, and we'll put these on so I can see better. We'll use a screwdriver to sort of increase our pressure a little bit and have, I guess, what would be considered to be more focused cleaning. Let's get one more prep pad. Clean one. And let me take a close look before I show you. One of the nice things about alcohol is that it dries really fast. So if you can just wait a few seconds, it will evaporate. Or if you're in a hurry, you can use a compressed air duster and dust it off. Now, you saw the before, you saw me do it. And here's the after. The after looks pretty good. You can see next to it how it was before we started, and now you can see what it looks like with this. And I think that's pretty outstanding. Of course, very easy to read. Personally, I think brown was the way to go. There's a little bit more. See, we're very fussy around here. There's a little bit between the A and the E. And if we do a paper towel maybe, I don't think anybody would complain. And especially because this is our first attempt. And I think the first attempt turned out pretty well. You know, one of the things you have to realize is if you take it and you hold it up in front of your face like this, and you look with the magnifiers, you're going to see every little flaw and every little everything. But if you figure that it's sitting on someone's wall and you're standing back from it at arm's length or so, operating it and reading what it says with normal day-to-day vision, I think it looks just fine. It's actually a pretty good first attempt. I'll work on this more and more and sort of streamline the whole process, but this was sort of the, I guess, proof of concept that it would be possible to do. We'll have to streamline it a little bit so it's easier and quicker to do, but I'm pretty sure that we can figure out how to do that. I already have some more ideas. It may work out well to maybe put a little bit of maybe some alcohol or maybe a little mineral spirits, just wipe it across carefully first, and not a lot, just a little bit, and then put the paint, then wipe the paint away, and that might make a barrier so it doesn't tend to stick to the plastic so much, or something else like that. I'm not sure exactly, but we'll figure it out because that's kind of what we do here. So that's the conclusion of the follow-up of the re-whitening of a NuTone IS45 inside station. I think this turned out really well, and I hope you did too. So you didn't really think I was going to let you go without showing you how it ended up. What I learned was, this is like a few days later since the last section of this, and what I found was what works really well, and here it is. Here's the finished product. Sorry about the shadow. Maybe that's better. As you can see, it's very easy to read. You can read door speaker, inside patio speaker, talk, listen, volume, all reassembled. All the controls and buttons have been cleaned and everything. And what I found worked really well was I took some green masking tape and I masked off around the words. So at the beginning of D, at the end of S on speakers, and across the bottom a little bit. And then I painted it with the brown paint and wiped it carefully with a cloth with some mineral spirits on it. And then I let it dry, took the tape off, and then there was only the littlest bit of brown that got on the ivory plastic, and it was easy to clean off. By masking it off, when you wipe it, it doesn't smear onto the plastic. It just stops where the tape is, and that makes it easier. So I think it turned out really well. I have another one of these I'm going to do. In fact, let me get that and I'll show you. Just as a flashback here, here's its cousin. Move this over here. This is what we started off with. And this one, this is what this looked like before I did anything to it. Just as a reminder, these two came in together. They're from the same time. They probably came out of the same installation, and it's easy to see how much improvement there's been in this from this. This one's missing a couple buttons, which isn't hard to deal with. So this was the proof of concept one where we learned a lot about what we should do with them. And this one, this is going to be the second test. I have the whitening tank going already, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one in there and re-whiten it and mark out the lettering and do all of that and see if we can come up with a pair. I hope you found this to be interesting and perhaps helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Thumbs up. Can't see that. Thumbs up on YouTube because that always helps. There'll be a banner right here that shows you how to subscribe. Go to our YouTube homepage, click on the bell or on the wheel, put in your email address, and every time we post a new video, you'll get a notification and you can watch it. That's all for today. See you on the next video.